I lightly referenced in the preceding encounter we had through Theater of Dimensions Voice, our newest album that we're considering in full from XANDRIA. One of, again, a 2017 release. We're digging back in their history, but it's a pleasurable journey, again, examining different eras of their lineups, now sitting within Diana von Giersbergen exposure, and one that will evolve, again, in two different satisfactions of journeys. First, for XANDRIA, a deepening of understanding for me as very much a developing fan of theirs. In whatever era I've approached, I've quite liked. And again, I know there's quite a differentiation of view concerning XANDRIA fans. Everybody has their particular favorites. I definitely have a foot in each window, and I love Manuela, Diana, Amber to all their independent regards. And Diana, though, I will highlight her as a really good fit to this group, paired immediately well in terms of competent delivery within a symphonic metal extreme of what I immediately gravitate to, certainly of a European origin, and prowess, again, of being a metalhead of many years. I love the execution, atmosphere, and body within this particular field of metal delivery, but pairing that with her spinto soprano range, and a really capable one of, again, a Dutch origin. And there's particular credits I quite like from that realm of the world. Diana, the newest entry, and again, another addition to my lineup of favorites concerning operatic capable vocalists, and a couple more on the way, but Diana really has stolen my attention, like many have in that regard. And I didn't used to be an opera fan necessarily, but metal has given me a welcome entrance to it. And one that I've not forgotten about in any steps we've taken. Again, music is best enjoyed in company, however you approach, and I want this to be a welcome mat for anybody in our time together featuring XANDRIA, or Diana more specifically in subsequent journeys, as I said. With XANDRIA, we have the historical deep dive we're taking in the midst, where this is a first step in our evolving journey with a Diana von Giersbergen exposure to later works from her, including XANDRIA, or preceding or in the midst of. Notably, our next steps will be Ex Libris, and then Diana and some of her collaborations. It'll be a fun deep dive we're going to take together. But again, her credits speak for themselves on vocal delivery, quite an attractive talent and voice. And so far, the voice, in fact, of Theater of Dimensions as a chiefly reigning XANDRIA conceptual album has been quite an intrigue of a release in full. Every piece I've quite liked, and I hope the same is true for you, whether you happen to be approaching as an initiate fan or a longtime listener. I hope you feel welcome here in our explorations together of any artist we highlight, because there's not been one exception to this. Each piece, each artist we've recognized, I find to be quite an achievement of exposure. And certainly the many I'm learning about in terms of European names, it's quite a welcome retreat. It's a self-diving journey I've been taking for a couple years now that I've not regretted in any step of the way, whether it be connection points offered to me through other artists that we spotlight or your recommendations, and XANDRIA fit the qualification of both. I really like this adventure together, and Theater of Dimensions has been another capable release from them on both musical scoring grounds, narrative, vocally, of course. I really like the atmosphere and the individualized character on this one. Look at that last entry, for example, Burn Me. That really, again, I still come off of it feeling that there's a real independence of voice on that. That echoes nicely to some of their other works that do stress more of an individuality. I'm thinking again, like I said, of that Fire and Ashes EP with the first two numbers on that specifically. There is a real tie, not matched, but just an association I experience, again, on independent character. Queen of Hearts, Reborn, might follow suit. I don't know. My suspicion, though, is it would be quite a powerful number, because each piece from XANDRIA's Theater of Dimensions, and really most of the bodies of work we've considered together, well, actually anything, has been aptly executed. Real precision and detail work within their numbers that I quite appreciate. I am sure Queen of Hearts Reborn will follow suit in path of any of the previous 11 pieces we've welcomed. And if you are walking in with initiate eyes, I would recommend taking the deep dive for yourself with those first 11 pieces, and then coming back into the graces of Queen of Hearts Reborn. You will like that fanfare experience, I promise you. And plus, we are getting to the conclusion quite quickly in our journey. One more number to go post this. The really big masterpiece finish at a 14-minute number. That's a first in terms of duration here, and it won't be the longest entry. There's even ones in our upcoming journey with Diana that are going to surpass that. Anyway, just previewing future steps, but for now, we're getting to that point by welcoming Queen of Hearts first, which I saw in reference, just again, I lightly mentioned this, on the preceding exposure we had to Theater of Dimensions via Burn Me. I did see that when Diana left the group, in terms of a story to that, one of the former vocalists, I think Lisa was her name, I forget exactly. Again, I entered for the Manuela Crowler era on Origin of Selection. In terms of our history deep dive, Diana was referenced as the Queen of Hearts. I think Queen is an apt descriptor for her. And once you witness her vocal delivery, if you've not yet been introduced, I think you'll agree. I don't want to speak for you, but that type of range and power and control of voice is quite commanding. Truly a gifted artist, in my opinion. One that I've loved recognizing in any work we've humored. And I'm sure that journey will continue even outside of XANDRIA. I have no doubt with her. Queen of Hearts, though, or Queen of Hearts Reborn, I keep forgetting that end bit. Let's experience it together on an initiation witness, or maybe a review for you, but first interaction for me, and maybe you're taking a parallel journey for yourself as we dive into Theater of Dimensions voice together. And about at the wrap-up point, but so far it's been a great journey. I'm sure another entry will be of equal qualification. Fantasy aesthetic, driven out immediately. Softer edge darting more into a ballad formality, possibly. Could be a twist evolving from here again. Mixture of tone concerning XANDRIA. Let's see where it goes together. Take this time though as a work. Soft entrance. That's a perfect choice. To transfer layers too is a good move. Told you, twist. This does feel quite royal. Once that choir kicks in, plus again the fanfare stylized syncopation. Good drive on this one. Again, beautiful detail work again in the lyrical illustration. I see the theater veneer in appearance with this one. That edge is really welcome. Again, a totally new chic on that one vocally. Any destination she has to hit. Just done so well. And that control again on how emphasized her pitch is. Or shifts to spoken word.
The truth screaming from within, whose soul denies the world in his self-loving reign, that neither friend nor foe nor mirror could make him sane.
Any stylization on vocals she just masters. Part of it is again the welcome accent presence for sure. And it is defined of her. I love hearing that intrusion naturally. I think it's most noticeable on the truth word. But the vocals here again on particular direction and how they're shaped. And how easily she floats. See? Perfect lead-in. Great ambiance in the background too, again the symphonic energy. I don't want to neglect focusing on the instrumental in any way. It really does lead the number well. Diana really reaches in terms of excess of her voice. She's totally an unafraid vocalist in every respect.
Before it could grow old, by the hand of the Queen, our lives and hearts were redeemed, And again, the truth prevails. Or so it seems.
How do we close out? Frame back to an original reference on part of the initiation of a ballad? I'm believing so. There's not enough time, I think, for a twist to materialize at all. Another fade out? Yes. Interesting, again, well, that's the second time we've seen an appearance of that. And I will say, again, it's not as much, well, it's a surprise, but it definitely makes more sense very lean into the final masterpiece. Theater of Dimensions, well, a Theater of Dimensions is going to be technically correct of a title. Good focus on emotional procession, I think. It really does feel like a royal fanfare. When you speak of the Queen terminology, and I immediately attribute Europe to this, again, with the classic command on sound. And I love how XANDRIA frames this, again, a particular mixture when you consider the metal extremes paired with the symphonic vision. Classic and modern intermixing on a perfect note. I look at this number tonally, it is such a welcome entrance to it. Look how balanced we are on initiation. And again, don't define a number tonally from XANDRIA so readily. You might think it's a ballad entrance, right? And it might be a mainstay on the number. And considering we're on the 12th piece, I could see it float in that direction in advance. I was presuming it might. It does for a little while. And the vocals match exquisitely on a variety of extremes and personality. Well, we'll get to the adventurism on voice in a minute when those verses pop up in explanation. But soon, that riff kicks in. The number takes on a more aggressive veneer. Perfectly syncopated, though. Again, a balanced framework of a real nice field on it. A general ambiance that is a perfect sweeping score. Quite cinematic, in fact, on presence for a symphonic metal number. The aptitude of XANDRIA on voice, I readily see it. Demonstrated again exquisitely between a power and symphonic stylized with metal differentiation on subgenre intermixing. That fusion works perfectly, and an even balance between both extremes. Each aids the other. I really like it as a work. Very balanced chorus sections, and again, how this piece navigates vocally is extremely impressive with, well, again, not just on the entrance, with the choir cue, yes. Anytime you get that kick in, it's like, this is perfect. And it does feel, as I said, quite royal. That effect readily materialized and showcased in just a superficial appearance you can't ignore. But then Diana's voice, the fluctuations again on particular stylization, however direct or intentionally modulated, that deliberate lightness and snarl effect on the pre-chorus sections, we haven't witnessed that before yet. But again, an unafraid adventurism with her. Taking risks, I respect it, especially when the performance is so reverential. And from her, and again, I like XANDRIA in any era we've looked at to the vocal credits of everybody, Manuela Kraler, Diana von Giersbergen, or Amber Verhees. Each have very distinct personalities from one another with some synonymy, yes, notably again the melodic and the operatic thresholds. Though Amber readily floats into an unclean extreme where necessitated by the number, and that's a bit of a new build. And Diana and Manuela have a bit of a natural overlap between, again, the melodic command and that higher range, though Manuela has a pronounced accent that takes the operatic pitch a little deeper, at least on a background effect. Diana, and again, everybody in their own right is a quite adept performer, but her voice and the way it's stylized with this number, that evident control, and the intermixing with the choir, the higher vibrato pitches, that intermixing, it is such a good canvas of a sweeping nature with her. The effect that she readily employs emotionally and how it touches us on an experience. I really value how effective it is as a piece. Queen of Hearts sets in, or Queen of Hearts Reborn, I keep forgetting about that last word, it sets in really well. Certainly, as a lead into where we're going. That fade-out transition, again, I think paced very effectively and creates quite the temptation to dig deeper with that last number. As we will, we have to entertain the conclusion, right? If we're going to do a full album survey, and it very much is the 14-minute masterpiece, a grand showcase. But Queen of Hearts, the lead-in, at least our experienced lead-in with the album. Speaking of dimension, with reference to the title, that is clearly evident in best focus with this number. Again, the specialized voice for Diana specifically, and the fitting support of such an adept instrumental score, with again the symphonic and power metal cues so naturally interwoven and balanced to one another. Perfect extremes, just highlighting again the direct prowess of XANDRIA on voice. I absolutely love this entry. An immediate return experience for me, and one of my favorites I think on the album thus far. Tonally, on key choice, it hits, evolving its structure brilliantly. I would love to hear your thoughts down below on personalized experience with that. Of course, music is very much a subjective art, so feel free to share whatever you think in terms of your vantage point of approach to XANDRIA. I'd love to know where you fit. Queen of Hearts really is quite a number. I really like it. Now, we have one more to go in our survey, and I'm sure that A Theater of Dimensions is going to really kick us off our feet, at least from what I've heard about it on Word. And it is, again, the collection of our experiences together with this concept that over a 14-minute duration will certainly play out well with expectancy on XANDRIA's prowess, but each entry thus far has been, in its own way, a success. Queen of Hearts Reborn, in not only its familiarity on roots to XANDRIA, but its independence, is quite a glamorous tale. I really like it as a number. Key favorite of mine on the album. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.